absolutely amazing.
Is this what day is this?
It's Mail It In Friday.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Here we go, OverDrive off and running, TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 2, up on YouTube Live, streaming up on Crave, Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, and Jason Strudwick. Good to see you, boys. How are we feeling? How are we feeling on this Friday afternoon?
You messed up the intro.
Did I? What did I say?
You were supposed to say, and the Elk Man.
Yeah. The Elk Man, you're right. That's it's a complete miss by me after yesterday Struddy showed the world a completely different side that we were not aware of. But a side that we love, Strud. Have you been, hearing from people wanting you to show up at parties and paid events as the Elkman or what?
Yeah, there's some pretty significant dollars being thrown around for me to come for the Elkman if they make it to the Grey Cup. But then on top of that, I was taking some heat for the shirt I had on yesterday. They were calling it a blouse.
No.
So I've been trying to change. So now I'm trying to go a little more casual. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I never noticed these things. A blouse. Do
people
wear
are
blouses
uber
anymore?
critical. Like, listen, you're in the middle. Your boy Noodles generally wears black on black on black with a pinch of gray, right?
Yes.
Like, he doesn't really get too far outside of the box. But whenever he does, he goes so extreme the other way that people are like, what the hell is going on with Noodles right now?
The one shirt he had was legendary.
Yes.
Yes,
it was.
When was that?
That was the karate shirt he was wearing before we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was testing it, and then the reaction was so overwhelmingly, I think, positive, outside of maybe myself, that he broke it out. Radio Row, San Fran, and it went over beautifully. But, yeah, there's a lot of critics out there, Strud. Oh. That's just the way it goes, man.
I'm very
a lot
insecure
of critics
right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And, like, social media, last night, because we got a lot to get into and some crazy stuff going on in the NHL we're going to tell you about in just a minute. The ending of that match, I didn't have a dog in the fight. I don't care who was going to win, Portugal, Croatia. I just wanted dramatic moments and extra time, and I would have been all for penalties. Jonas, I know you're not a fan of that, but personally
I liked them in football.
Oh, you're okay with them in football? Just not
I loved them in football.
Okay, that makes total sense. Yeah. You're okay with them over there, but with hockey, you turn it off. But that's why I was so excited with the idea of Croatia scoring. I couldn't believe they went 10 minutes deep in injury time. I could not believe that was the case. He was clearly offside. I understand that. But I just tweeted out, hey, awesome. That was so cool. Let's get going. And people are going nuts. Like, I guess Portuguese fans were going nuts. And I don't know why they would have been, because in the end, it broke your way and you won the match. So you should be happy. But it wasn't like I had to take one way or the other on offside, not offside. I just wanted to see it count so I could have more soccer to watch last night.
But you said it was clearly offside. I think it's only offside if it touches his teammate, which there is no evidence of.
That is clearly offside right there. I think the fact that it hit the Portuguese player, but it was unintentional, is what the ruling was in the end. Where
they're saying it touched the Croatian player by the hair.
Right. Which it did, I think, if you look at the VAR, and they had the chip, right? That came out this morning. We're getting chip information on the ball and it touching someone, and they are convinced that it did touch the Croatian teammate. In the end, it didn't count. Doesn't matter. Portugal's moving on. They got Spain next, which is going to be an unbelievable match. Ronaldo scores, right? It was awesome last night. Drake was down there. Scotty Barnes, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Gavin McKenna was down there. He's getting a full red carpet here in Toronto. Throwing out the first pitch for the Blue Jays in a box at the match last night. He's not in Yukon anymore, Strud. It's a different lifestyle in Toronto.
Yeah, and Justin Bieber and him are probably texting now. They're best buddies. You know what? Listen though, playing in Toronto is different than playing in a lot of other markets. So I think this is actually healthy as I saw him there, that he's got to kind of get used to this. And how do you deal with it? So I think you lean on Matthews. I think you can talk to Matt Sundin. That was one of the things that Matt talked about, I think, in their introductory press conference, that he understands what it's like playing in a high-pressure situation. So playing in a market like Toronto is unbelievably great. It's so many opportunities, but also you got to learn how to manage it. Both, do I do it or not do it, and how do I do my time? So I think now is the perfect time to go through and have all these experiences and then start figuring out how it works into your schedule as you kind of work through the year, because playing NHL is tiring, it's hard, but there are time for fun things. This is a perfect time to do it.
It's a great point, because this is your life. Like the reality is, if you are drafted first overall to the Maple Leafs, everyone knows who you are immediately, right? Absolutely. And everyone's got high expectations. And I've been very impressed with how he has been speaking openly about his own game and how confident he is. He said, hey, on the ice, I know what I'm doing. And that doesn't mean, he's not going to be prepared for the trials and tribulations of the NHL. I think he will be. If he's not, someone's going to pull him aside and say, be ready. Because when you get to the NHL, it's not Penn State or Medicine Hat anymore. There's big boys out there waiting for you. So he's going to have his ups and downs. But I think that's a great point, that, when the spotlight's as big as it can get. Like first overall to the Maple Leafs, the town is like all over him. Where is he? What's he doing? There's a lot going on, though. There's also a lot of distractions. The World Cup, the Blue Jays, et cetera. But that's a good point. Like, learn early, the ebbs and flows, where you can go, where you're not going to go, how you're going to act publicly, all that kind of stuff, because the eyes are on you constantly wherever he goes. Everyone knows who he is already.
Hayes, can I ask you a Toronto question?
Yes.
Who do you think has the belt right now for the city, athlete-wise?
Well, 6 months ago it was Vladdy, undisputed.
Right, and he doesn't have it right now.
I don't think he has it right now. A couple of years ago it was Matthews, undisputed. That's a very good question. Honestly,
it's like vacant right now, right? Kawhi?
I was going to say Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Kawhi, and he hasn't even been here yet. It's not even officially done. It gets, it's officially signed, sealed, delivered on July 6th. And Kawhi's, I joked about it last week. He may not even come up and do a presser. He might just send a text. I'm good. We've done that before. Like, I'll see you in September. But it might be Kawhi. I mean, based on the pictures downtown, if you're around the Delta last night, it might be Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Like, Ronaldo's, he came in. It was quick. It was like a 48-hour business trip. But, man, were people going nuts for Ronaldo. And that was incredibly cool last night in Portugal with a win. And, there he is. I think that's on Bremner, right? I believe that's in between the Scotiabank Arena and the Rogers Center down there on Bremner. And that's thousands and thousands of people. Like, that's like a Beatles reaction, in the 60s. Like, crazy, the amount of people just waiting for him to come out onto the perch. And the noise, the amount of people yelling and screaming. Like,
it's like the Pope.
Yeah, honestly, what a life. Like,
blessing Toronto.
Yes.
Ronaldo's blessing Toronto.
He was last night, and scoring a goal. I mean, it was a really cool moment, and that's history there. That's something that I think a lot of people in Toronto are not going to forget. The fact that he played here, he's been so big for 20-plus years. He got to United when he was like 18 years old, and he's been, a superstar for 20-plus years. And a guy of that magnitude, it's him and Messi in that world. And outside of these borders, obviously – hockey, football, baseball, basketball, North America. You get outside of North America, there's nothing bigger. And
who's
the
that
fact
guy waving?
That's the manager who got himself a win last night.
Why are you waving?
Right at the end,
back,
too, right? All the players are out
back.
there. People are like, what are you doing? Like, send Ronaldo back out, please.
Get the good-looking guy back out here. Because Ronaldo, he might be the best-looking human of the last 100 years. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think Robert Redford's an attractive man. I recognize he's passed away, but I don't know how you guys feel about those two.
Yeah,
you should give us your top 5.
Yeah, can you let's flesh this out?
That's a personal question. Personal question, Jonas.
Right,
Come on, man.
it's subjective.
Friday. But Robert Redford and Ronaldo are probably in my top 3. Probably,
top 3, okay.
Why not?
We got to find out the third guy.
Yeah.
We got put some more thought into it, Strud.
Jonas might be in there. He's might get in there.
He's got a chance. He's had some sun. He's had some sun. Yeah, listen, Ronaldo, it's almost like too much. Like, even my wife last night, it's like, look at the eyebrows on this guy.
I know.
Like, how are you playing sports like that? You know, the hair is not, like, never moves.
No, 6-pack from his knees to his nipples. Like, that's insane,
It's
man.
crazy.
His body. Like,
so anyway, we got a big one today. Nick Paul's coming up today. Nick Paul will join us on, coming home and being a Leaf, and he knows the division well. He played in Ottawa, he's played in Tampa, and now he's one of the newer Maple Leafs, and there's been a lot of them. So we'll catch up with Nick. We're looking forward to that. We got Johnny coming up. We got Duffy coming up ahead of the big match tomorrow. But we have officially reached offer sheet season, boys, in the NHL, where the Philadelphia Flyers have tendered an offer sheet which was signed and accepted by Leo Carlsson of the Anaheim Ducks, 5 years, $18 million per year. And now Anaheim has a week to match. And if they choose not to match, Philly will have to pay 4 first-round picks for Leo Carlsson. What do you make of it?
Jonas, go, buddy.
I think it's fascinating. I wonder why it's taken so long to get to the point where we actually see these happening. Like Barrett Hayden happens the other day. I don't know what you do if you're the Ducks. I like it for Philly. I think obviously it's a lot. He's going to be the highest paid player in the league. If I guess he'd be the highest paid player in the league either way. If they accept, so no matter what,
either way,
he's the highest
paid player. Jumps over Kaprizov.
Yeah,
yep.
So that's interesting. I mean, if you're Philly, I looked. I think he's 21.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting him like right in the thick of his prime. It looks like a lot. It is a lot, but the cap is just going to continue to go up, we assume, and maybe go up more than we even think. I don't know. I like it. Like, I think it's such an interesting way of getting players. And like, you think of it, what they'd be giving up for first-round picks. It's like, man, that's a lot of picks. But if they're going to be good, those are going to be like, I don't know, 18 to 25, something like that every year. Is like if you can trade those for it. I guess it just depends. How good do you guys think Leo Carlsson's going to be?
Well, there's no way he's living up to his contract. He's not the best player in the league. He's a really good player, and I think he's going to continue to improve at 21. His skating, his size, the way he makes plays, he drives the net. Like, there are times when he drives the net. If you don't have the right jersey on, he reminds me of Connor McDavid. Like, I think he can have that kind of size and speed. But at $18 million, there's no way. He's not the top player in the league. But that being said, how do you walk away from this if you're the Ducks? Yeah. I mean, he is your number one center. Now, a couple things. I think this walks him right to being
free
a UFA.
agency. Yep.
And that is a major issue because you're like $18 million, you're UFA. I know the cap's going up. And then what about Cutter Gauthier? Does someone else rip a shot at them in this one? Last year they had a lot of players on really good deals because they were young and cheap. Those days are over, my friends. Like, you could have Cutter and Carlsson both between them making $30 million.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and Seneca's going to put his hand up too.
Yeah,
and
he's
wants
got a couple of years though, but still, man, like that.
Yeah,
that the good times. Like, now they've got to find a way to get some deals. Like, think about, they had Carlsson last year, Trouba, they had Gudis, they had who else was a high paid D-man? Like,
well, the Combs deal is just kicking in.
Yeah, the Combs just
they have like a ton of cap space.
Yes, but this is going to start. It gets spent quickly, right? Like, I guarantee you, they weren't thinking $18 million for Carlsson. No way.
Because they have 17 left, I think, don't they? I thought if I looked at it, don't they? And they got to sign Cutter. So is he going to be 10? I have no idea.
Well, and guys, what does this do for the other RFAs? Like, Bedard is an RFA right now. Like, what does it do for Robertson? What does it do? Like, you know what I mean? I think Zegras actually is an RFA on Philly. So, like, what does this do for him? Like, I just think we're going to see crazy deals. Like, Cale Makar can sign an extension, I think, already.
Yes, he can. But he'll be a UFA.
Right. But, like, what's that contract going to be? Is that going to be $20 million a year
Yeah,
now?
it'll be higher than this, for sure. Million. I mean, if you're Makar, immediately you're saying, he should be anyway, in my opinion.
Of course.
Obviously, the problem with looking at a snapshot of cap hits is that there isn't enough context to that, right? Because if a guy signed 5 years ago, obviously he's not going to be paid appropriately. Yeah. The only way to do that would be everyone just sign one-year deals, and then everything would filter in appropriately. McDavid would be the highest, and McKinnon would be there, and Kucherov's making 9.5. Guy just won the Hart. This guy's going to make twice as much as Kucherov next year. And I love Carlsson as a player. He is a really good player. And I think that this is probably an auto match, a reluctant one. They won't be ecstatic about it, but you have to match it because you've been waiting to turn the corner in Anaheim. He's your linchpin up front, right? You've got Seneca, you got Gauthier, you got Lacombe on the point. I think they feel good about Dostal. You know, you brought in Quinville as your head coach, made it to the second round. You know, like they feel good about themselves, and they should. And I think if you lose Carlson, you're not back to square one, clearly, but you're chasing something that is just very difficult to find. And I think that's what is proof here on Philly's side, is they're chasing something. Yes, they like Zegras, of course, you know, and Couturier's been there forever. They know they need a number one center, and they're not going to find it if they're not, you know, higher up the draft. So they're going to go out there and chase it. And I look at a couple of teams who I think are kind of a few different reasons that are, you know, responsible for this. One, it is the explosion of the cap, where there's just so much money, and, you know, players are probably looking at it thinking, why not us? You know, especially younger players, because Carlson didn't have to sign this. Nope. You can get offered whatever you want from Philly or any other team. You don't have to do it. And there's a long
to sign that.
I hear you, Strud.
No, but he means like you don't just say offer sheet and you're in it.
Exactly. Like, he chose to accept the deal from Philly. He could have said, I'm not doing that out of good faith to Pat Verbeek in Anaheim.
The money's so high.
But, Strud, there's a history of players saying no. Like, by all accounts, there have been players in the past. My understanding is Braden Point was presented back in the day. He's like, I'm not doing that because I don't want to mess around with Tampa. Like, I want to be here and I want to figure it out, and I don't want to have the front office pissed. I can't speak for him. But, like, Carlson's like, screw it. I don't care about Pat Verbeek. I don't care about anyone else. I'll go to Philly if I have to. That's what Philly did this with Shea Weber years ago. Remember, in Nashville had to match. It was the same team. But I look at St. Louis and what they did to Edmonton and how much it worked, right? Like, immediate. Dylan Holloway and
Broberg.
And Broberg, like, immediately worked and immediately hurt Edmonton. And even though they're not directly involved in this, I can't help but look at Vegas and their general attitude towards everything is why other teams are like, this is something Vegas would do. Yep. Vegas would be like, screw it, I don't care about shaking Pat Verbeek's hand at the draft. Yeah. I'm doing it. I want him. Because it was a gentleman's league forever, right? Brian Burke and Kevin Lowe and fighting in barns and how dare you. That ship has sailed. Like, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, but guys, let's look at it like this. So I understand that maybe some players have walked away, and we can talk about the Holloway and Broberg. Those were smaller amounts for a smaller amount of years. Honestly, what did you think Leo Carlson was going to sign for this summer? $12 million?
Yeah, I thought 12, 13 million.
Okay, so 12. So that's 6 times 5. That's $30 million. There's no way he can walk away from that. There's no way.
Sure.
Do you think Braden Point walked away from $30 million?
Again, I don't know the whole particular element
of it all.
There's no way
he can walk away.
But then why did it never happen in the past? Like, why has it never happened in the league like this? Outside of the Weber example, which was an extreme one. That was like 10 years, or 15 years.
It was longer.
10 million or something crazy like that.
Yeah, long one. But for this one, specifically for this one, when you look at the difference between what we thought he was going to get, the term, and what he did get, you just cannot walk away from this money. You just can't.
All right, he hasn't. To your point, he hasn't. Like, he signed it, and Carlson's like, I'm either in Philly or Anaheim. You guys figure it out.
Absolutely.
And you're right. It's unjust. He's not the best player in the league. He's not a top 10 player in the league right now. He's got potential to get there.
Absolutely.
Like, I do think he could be at some point over the 5 years of this deal. You may look at him and say, that guy's up for a heart or chasing a heart. So Anaheim's got a match, but I do wonder about the ripple effect. Like, if you're Celebrini right now, how does Carlson make $18 million and you make less than that? How could you possibly, if you're Celebrini's agent, I don't know who it is, possibly hear from Mike Greer and hear him say anything under
$20
million? Unless Celebrini doesn't want to do it. Strud. That's what I'm saying.
That's different, right? So I think you got to be proactive here as a GM. It's easy to say that because the player's not interested. He's not interested, right? Like, I look at what LA did with Drew Doughty. Right now, different situation near the end of his career. And they said, hey, let's just play this year and see what happens. Well, that money is going to be the same or going down. For these guys, it's only going to go up. And now after this deal, you're right. I'm looking around the landscape of young players. They are all smiling. They're doing cartwheels. They're all going out tonight and lining up shots with their buddies because they just got an extra, what percentage? 10, 20%, 30% on their deals?
I don't know.
Because they're pointing at the guy in Anaheim, or maybe he's going to be in Philly.
Well, what'll be curious, though, is how the other GMs react. because in order for that to actually happen, Struck, because I would agree with you, that would be my viewpoint, is that this genuinely has to be the triggering point of this being the new era in the NHL. What I mean by that is it can't just be one outlaw team. Philly's the only one that will do it. No one because I guess what I'm getting to is if Philly, let's say it gets accepted in Anaheim. If you're Philly, why do you not call up Celebrini immediately and say we'll do $20 million for 5, like right now? Like why not just call him next, right? Or Bedard. Although Bedard's, I'm worried about him. That shoulder injury. I'm sure you guys saw it.
Oh,
like he suffered the same shoulder this year and he hurt himself again in training. That is really concerning. I don't.
Bad luck.
It is bad luck, but. Like when do you how concerned would you be, Strud, if you're Chicago, like this guy, that shoulder's just I don't want to say Josh Norris vibes, but that's not good, man.
No, I saw that video and I wanted to puke for him. Like that's a terrible thing. But I mean, you think about it. I mean, Jonas, you might have this better than I, but how many players do we hear of getting injured in the summer?
It never happens. Which
playing hockey, like I think I've known guys who've got hurt wakeboarding or whatever, right? Skiing in sunshine in the winter or in the summer. But Jonas said it never happens. Like that's the worst luck for a guy.
It's actually surprising that it never happens. Like you would think, you know what I mean? You'd think there'd be 5 or 6 every summer where it's just like something freak happened. And they got hurt, and it never
especially
does.
with the amount the guys skate now. You might be onto something. But like that was an innocent play. There was nothing. He was just kind of going backwards a little bit. Oh man, that's I felt sick when I saw it. That was my first reaction. I wanted to puke.
Do you guys think this has anything like we can tie this? Like we've seen players saying now, like I don't think I want to be here. Like I have a contract, but do you think this is all part of a whole? Players just saying, you know what, I'm going to do what's best for me. It's cool, like you've got a salary cap and like you want to build a winning team, but like to Struddy's point, if I can make this kind of money, I'm just gonna make this kind of money. If I want to play in Vegas or I want to play in Florida, I'm just gonna go play in Florida. Like I'm to hell with you guys. I'm gonna do
clearly
me.
There's some of that. Sure. I mean the thing is there's only so many roster spots in every team. And cap, the Florida has 12 forwards that can play and a finite hard cap. So not everyone can go there. You know what I mean? Like not everyone can be like, I'm just going to Vegas. They don't have room for you, So, and this isn't really I don't know if that applies here, Jonas, because he's going to Philly.
Yeah, Philly isn't that spot.
No,
it's actually a pretty nice city.
But it's Philly. A lot of money, right?
But the money, I'm telling you guys, this is all about the Benjamins.
Sure.
It's the money.
Yep.
The money is so much, you can't say no.
It's crazy.
You can't. If someone said, we'll pay you $30 million to shave your head on this show, I would be shaving it with like whatever, a toothbrush to get that hair off my head. Like that, the money's so big, guys, that you can't get rid of it. It's just... Like, I think he just made $30 more million than he thought he was going to make in his next 5 years.
It's a crazy
That's
amount of money.
crazy.
Hey, do you think it's like we don't have a meeting, like auto match 100%?
I think so, Jonas, because
I think you're right.
He's really, really good. They took him second overall. He's growing into his game, and a number one center, you have to have it if you want to have a chance. Like, look at that division. He's up against McDavid and Eichel and.
Well,
they have to have them.
What if
Elias Pettersson.
Could you not match it and just go offer sheet someone else? Does that make any sense?
But it has to be your own first rounders.
Then you're using your own one.
So I don't know what they have.
Philly, I know they surprised people this year. To their credit, they had a really good year and they had a great stretch run post-Olympic break. I wouldn't label them as a team that's should be uber confident they've done the heavy lifting. Dan Vladar was unbelievable for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got Vladar and Joseph Wall. Jonas, you're a big fan. But what if, you go get Leo Carlson and those goalies snap back to reality? It's a gamble, man. This isn't Colorado doing it or, Carolina doing this or something where they'd feel very comfortable that it's going to be a 28th pick.
Right, and you can't protect these picks, right?
You can't. I don't believe so. It's just you're handing over four first-round picks.
Now, Pat Verbeek does things a little bit differently, right? Like he does his own thing. You think about some of the picks he's made. Is there any chance because it's Pat Verbeek, he rethinks this?
Well, he can. This is one that I think ownership gets into, doesn't it, Strud? like a star player, this kind of money. Like if this one, Pat Verbeek obviously is going to have a significant say, but this would be presented to the owner, like what we're doing here, And if the owner goes, I need this guy, we got to then I don't know what Pat Verbeek can really do. But you're right, he approaches it differently. So yeah, it sounds like the deal itself too is like front-loaded, like big bonuses, like just huge money out of the gate here. What a time to be alive with Leo Carlson.
Oh,
and I would think Anaheim's going to match, and he's going to be the highest-paid player in the league. And that's a market where they're not going to hold them to account on that. That's the crazy juxtaposition here. Is in Philly, that's a tough town. You take $18 million, you go to Philly, you better play and play well, or people are going to be on you. In Anaheim, it's not going to be the same spotlight. All right, Mike Johnson coming up. Nick Paul in just over half an hour. James Duthie from Houston, Canada, Morocco, 1 p.m. tomorrow on TSN, CTV, and Crave. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Tonight.
This is the moment.
On TSN 1050, a round of 32 doubleheader as Argentina takes on Cabo Verde and Colombia kicks off against Ghana. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Melody Friday brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. Mike Johnson here in just a moment. Nick Paul in just over half an hour. And Duffy coming up from Houston, where we've got Canada-Morocco tomorrow. And it sounds like the England-Mexico match on Sunday is being moved up in time. It was supposed to be played at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Now it's going to be 12 Eastern, I believe, or 1 Eastern, which means people in England are going to be ecstatic because now you don't have to wait up till 1 in the morning for the match. And I'm sure you guys have seen the story of that English guy who went missing for a couple of weeks and was just partying and in pubs and had no idea people were looking for him, which is a phenomenal story and very, I think, English kind of soccer type of news, but also old school, right, Strud? Like, that's the way the world used to be.
Yeah.
There's no phones, no tracking people. No one was wondering if, someone went lost or, why can't we catch up with you? Why can't we find you? Because it's 1989 and I'm living my life. But nowadays, you got to check in all the time and be accountable. This guy said, screw it. I'm throwing the phone out. I'm going to go have a good time, and you can come find me when you find me. It's a great story.
Well, when I first started, we'd go away on the road, and you wouldn't have a phone. And then you'd come back and check your messages, and you'd have 8 messages.
Right.
And the world didn't burn down. Right?
No.
I mean, things are okay. And I get it. I want to sound like an old man, but that, it was exciting to get home. 8 new messages, and 7 were from my mom. But still.
It's all good. She wants to know how the road trip went.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great headline I saw in the New York Post. Soccer fan who vanished while traveling to World Cup found in pub 10 days later, blissfully unaware of search. He had no idea that people were worried about him, which is great. That's an
How
old
many
school
beers
guy.
is that in 10 days? That's a lot.
10 days is a long time to go missing.
That's a lot of beers, too.
That's right.
Off
Probably
the grid.
wife, kids, they're like, can you just check in once? We're not asking for hourly updates.
Yeah.
But Gary, give me an update that you actually made it to Dallas or New York or wherever you're going. It's so good. All right, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline, here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst. Johnny, how was the footy match last night?
Oh, Hayes, it was unreal. I've been to a lot of stuff, basketball games and World Series games, and I was at the Olympics gold medal game. It might have been the coolest, most engaged event I've ever been to. It was, and I'm not a Portuguese fan. I'm not a Croatian fan. I'm just a sports fan. And it was the scene, the city line, the weather, the whole bit. It was as good of an event I've ever been to.
Cool. Well, and I think the fact that Ronaldo scored, take us inside the stadium last night when he scored. First of all, he had the one beauty that got called back on an offside. He was offside by a shoulder, barely offside.
Yeah.
And then he scores on a penalty, and he does this whole stunt and whole routine. What was the buzz like when he scored?
So I was in a neutral section, some Portugal fans, some Croatian fans. So you got a little bit of everything, but everyone wanted to see him do something. And he scored that sweet goal, and you thought it was onside. It was actually pretty slick handle and finish. But when he scored, obviously everyone's up and watching. And Hayes, this celebration with the jump and the cross and the woof,
Yep.
We were walking out of there afterwards. There were grown men, Hayes, grown 35-year-old men running down the street, jumping up and doing this thing and screaming. I'm like, your guys are nuts. You have a 4-year-old at home, and it's like you're on the pitch with this guy. It was, there were people in front of us, and they were following Ronaldo with their cell phone, zoomed in on him the whole game while sort of watching the game, but just taping him. It's like, it's another level. I don't like, it's not LeBron. It's not whoever Shohei. I mean,
Brady,
like, I
whatever,
don't know
yeah.
if, and like, I'm afraid about a hockey player. Like, it's nothing we can relate to his level of global stardom. Not that much stuff that happens. But in the second half, there was three goals called back because of offside, a post and a crossbar, and a 96-minute goal and a 110-minute goal that didn't count. It was like unlike any game that ever is played. It was amazing. It was great.
It was amazing. It just kept, like you said, it grows and grows and grows. The anticipation of heartbreak or glory, it's amazing. And yeah, the idea of some guy blowing his Achilles trying to do the Ronaldo thing would be so great.
It was wild.
That's your wife when you get home, like summer plans.
Guy almost got clipped by the streetcar because he wasn't supposed to. He's doing this Ronaldo dance, and like, it was, but across the board, it was everyone doing the weird. It sounds like a boo, but it's like crew or whatever, some noise that everyone makes when he does it. It was like echoing in the city. It was, and the stadium, which I was leery of with the temporary stands, it looked great. Like, it looked and was loud. The whole thing was just amazing. It was just great.
Awesome to watch. Yeah, I wish I was down there. It looked amazing. It was a really cool event with Mike Johnson. So we have reached offer sheet season here in the NHL, Johnny, as you're aware of. Leo Carlsson of the Anaheim Ducks. Yeah, I knew you'd like this. Offer sheeted. So presented the offer sheet by Philly. Signs the offer sheet, an important detail, right? He's like, I'm in, I'll take it. 5 years, $18 million per. Darren Dreger just tweeting out a moment ago saying that Carlson had 4 teams present offer sheets and several who shared a high level of interest. What do you make of this? What does it mean for the rest of the league? And how does it change your viewpoint of Leo Carlsson as a player?
So there's so many levels about this. First off, you make a good point, Hazy. He has to sign it. Like, you can present anybody with an offer sheet, but that player has to agree to go to the new team if it doesn't get matched. But when you're getting a 50% premium on a 5-year contract, he's going from 12 to 18. I don't know how you don't sign it. And he's a win-win. Either it goes to Philly and he's $118 million a year, he gets matched and stays in Anaheim with the team he likes. Girardi can tell you there's not a soul in the world that would resent his decision to sign this offer sheet. Nobody on the Ducks would be like, how could you jam us up like that? Like, what are we talking about? The only guy who'd be mad would be Pat Verbeek. He would probably be a little ball of hate's a big ball of hate right now. So I get why Cutter Gauthier did it. Philly, the Shea Weber offer sheet literally just expired 2 days ago. Like, it literally just finished. So it stands to reason they'd get right back on board. Danny Briere, my old roomie, getting to work. I didn't know he had this sort of, aggressiveness in him. And it's totally like, I don't understand why more of these don't happen. And maybe I get it with a flat cap. It's harder to navigate these things. And, you have to have entry level deals to give away first round picks. It maybe in that era you couldn't, but it seems like a really reasonable thing to do. Now, 4 first rounders, that's a lot for Leo Carlsson, but he's 22, whatever he is right now, 21. And he's going to be really good. He's already excellent. He's sort of a really, not Barkov, but he's a really good two-way centerman. He might not get 120 points, but he'll probably get 90 and be a two-way guy, and he's only going to get better. The likelihood of any of those 4 first-round picks turning into him is really, really low. So you're going to get the best player out of this situation. So I get why teams go after it. In years past, Anaheim, we said, Hayes, right on free agent day, they had almost $50 million in cap space. So part of the reason teams didn't do this was like, well, they're going to match anyways. They're going to be mad at us. We're going to drive up salaries. That's not a good thing for anyone. But this is so exorbitantly premium on what he otherwise would have paid, would have gotten in Anaheim, that I guess that's the risk. Like, you have the space to match it. You just don't want to. And what does that mean if you do? Because Cutter Gauthier is going to say, well, he got 18. What do I guess I get 16. or whatever it might be. So I guess Leo Carlsson understands that he is very highly thought of around the league. That's one thing. The other thing is if you're Bedard or Fantilli or Robertson or Trevor Zegras or whatever, you're like, okay, I might not be worth 18, but I'm worth now 14 or 15 or whatever. And one last element, like, and I hope it's true, I do enjoy a little spite in the world. And if this is Philly somehow going back for Cutter Gauthier and the way they sort of pulled him out of Philly back then and had some fun with him leaving the Flyers and going to the Ducks, I don't hate that either. The whole thing is amazing. I love it.
So, Johnny, I wasn't clear. Do you think that Pat Verbeek doesn't sign this or doesn't match it? Because he said he does things his way, right? So is there any chance he does walk away from this, in your opinion?
Yeah. I mean, I think there has to be a chance. If you're going to be worse off without Carlson on your team. But if you can take 4 first rounders and get Dylan Larkin for $11 million less, and you net out being a better team in the end, you do have Gauthier to sign. You have Minchukov to sign, who is also an offer sheet candidate to me. So I think there is a chance, Struddy, that he does not match it. He's in a bind. That's the whole point of an offer sheet. If it's an easy decision, then it's a bad offer sheet, right? But if it's a tough decision and you're not even sure what he's going to do, then you've obviously priced it appropriately and you pick the team and the player to do it with. I think around the league, the sentiment might be, well, you got to match just because you got to keep your player around and you figure out the finances later. But with Pat Verbeek, who is a notoriously tough negotiator, he might be put off by this. Like, I can't stomach paying this guy $18 million. And one other thought occurred to me, guys. I think it stands to reason that Leo Carlsson, when he retires, whenever it is, will retire as the highest paid player in the history of the NHL.
Wait, what?
Now, and when he retires, like total dollars accumulated, if he plays for 15 years, he's gonna make $18 million for 13 of them or more. Like, he's gonna be the highest paid guy.
His weight, right?
Well, I presumably, but like, he's probably not gonna get a pay cut next contract. I can't imagine. He might be the highest paid guy of all time when he retires.
I think the guy who lives about 5 hours north of him probably will be that, and that's Celebrini,
True.
who now looks at this.
Is he going to 18? Is he going to be? Is he going to be 14? Is he going to be a good guy, or is he going to be a realistic guy? I have no idea.
I don't have the answer. I don't know. I mean, but as much as I love Carlson, I love Celebrini more, and he's obviously should be paid more if we're living in a just world. We're not. Not everything's equal. McDavid's making 12.5. Like Kucherov's making 9.5. He just won the Hart. So, it's always a moving target. But we were talking about Bedard and how he got injured again yesterday, and same shoulder. Like, how concerned would you be if you're if you're Chicago and you're negotiating with him? That one's a tricky one for me because it hasn't been the smoothest ride for him. The team's still not very good. Now this is the same injury. Again, we don't know the full details because it's the off season on what happened here, but it looks really ugly. That's concerning. Not a big guy. What does this mean for Bedard?
It's awful. It's awful. I think of Josh Norris in Ottawa, now Buffalo, who kept these random falls into the boards or face-offs. These are not huge collisions, which is troubling. That it's like, you got to get that fixed. I don't think he had surgery on it. Like, I think he sort of played through it and rehabbed it. I had 3 shoulder surgeries myself, two torn labrums on the same shoulder, 5 years apart. So I have a little idea of what it's like to play with a bad shoulder that sort of bothers you a lot. You got to get it fixed. And he's so young, though. Do you want to sign him now to a max term, max dollar deal at 15 or 16 or $17 million or whatever it would be right now? Or do you want to say, okay, listen, you get 2 years and $24 million and just go be healthy and be better? I mean, they probably would err on the side of going long term, but that is tough to see. And like Jack Hughes, another guy, similar body, similar size, similar history of shoulder injuries. Like, there is an element of concern because it keeps happening over and over. I don't know what the answer is, Hayes, but it's brutal for him. It's early. We don't know
Yeah.
what's going on, but it's if it's a thing, that's get it. You got to get it fixed. You got to get it fixed right, like rehabbing it and strengthening it. If it keeps bothering you like an innocent little fall, tumble in the boards, go get it fixed and miss 6 months and come back in December if that's what you got to do because you get 12 years ahead of you, not just 12
Right.
weeks.
Yeah, it's troubling. And I think, again, I don't know exactly why he didn't go down that road of surgery, but the Olympics were hanging over him. Remember, he had such a great start, and he got back in January, like right before they announced the team, and he ultimately didn't end up making that team. So maybe he looks back on it differently now. But with Mike Johnson, go ahead, Jonas.
Mike, I want to get your opinion on the Zach Werenski situation. I can't remember anything like that where, I mean, it probably has never happened before where a team and a player release a statement about going back after like maybe not going back. Isn't this just kind of inevitable, like that he's just going to leave? Like what is the point of this if you're Columbus?
So the point of it is to make it more palatable when Zach Werenski returns to training camp this September.
Okay.
Because I think obviously he wanted to get traded.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they were going to trade him. They traded him for Thomas Harley, and then it didn't go through. So like don't act like we weren't doing this. But I think to make it and probably what happened is the offers from the teams that Zach Werenski specifically wanted to go to weren't worth making a deal for. So Columbus like, listen, we're not going to trade you to one of your three preferred teams if we don't like the return. We'll just take the good player back for another year and see what happens. But we don't want our crowd to boo you. We don't want guys drilling you every time about why you wanted to leave and have you soured on Columbus and what's the experience like and what is your like to try. I don't know if it's going to work, but to try to put that toothpaste back in the bottle, which is impossible. But I don't buy it. I think they're just trying to like for PR sakes make it more compatible for
Palatable, yeah.
the training camp.
But isn't this situation just going to be the same? Because presumably he will still want to go to those teams. Those teams' offers aren't going to change. I guess they could change, but like, what else could Toronto offer? What else could Tampa offer? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Are you just going to potentially get a year into this and next summer and just be like, well, we have to trade him now, and now the offers aren't as good?
Unless Zach Werenski doesn't like being back in Columbus in this situation and gives you more than three teams.
Right.
Gives you Dallas. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess we knew the Thomas Harley deal. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the one thing that could change. If Werenski holds firm, then, you know, maybe one of the teams has an injury or feels they're close or whatever, something happens that they change. But otherwise, you keep going down that same path, and then you get a year further on, the offers probably get worse unless Zach Werenski's going to sign an extension. So yes, I think what you're doing is if you're Columbus, we'll take the player. We're not going to be a pushover organization where you say you want out, you want to go to two teams. We'll take whatever we can get from one of those two teams. Like they're gonna try to hold firm a little bit and hope that Zach Werenski changes his mind in some capacity. Either he wants to stay, which I less likely, or he might give you two or three more teams like Darnell Nurse did. Maybe that's more likely.
All right, Johnny. Great stuff, buddy. Thank you for doing this. Great season in general. Have yourself a great summer. I'm sure we'll bother you again at some point, but great stuff as always. Thank you for doing this.
All right, fellas, have a good summer. We'll fly by, enjoy the golf and the water and the vacation and whatever else we're doing. We'll see you in about 4 months.
You got it. Love it. Thanks, Johnny. There he is, Mike Johnson, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. It's time to Toyota check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall. Nick Paul coming up in about 15. James Duthie coming up as well. World Cup in action. We got the Jays in Seattle. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Tomorrow, Canada is back on TSN 1050. Canada's historic run continues as they take on Morocco in the round of 16. Coverage starts at noon. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Nick Paul, James Duthie coming up. Might go through some Leafs confidence rankings with you guys. I got a few options here. I feel like the two of you, I don't know if you'll be aligned on this. We'll see. But we'll get to that at 5 o'clock. And World Cup continuing. Canada, Morocco tomorrow. We're inside 24 hours now. It's go time. This is it. Round of 16. Got to have it. Want this journey to continue. And LeBron James could play anywhere, maybe even the New York Knicks. Anything's possible, according to Rich Paul. He's spoken with 27 different teams, which I find somewhat hard to believe. But anyway, I want to know those teams. I want to know, I want to hear Sacramento calling and trying to make a pitch.
I want to know the teams he didn't talk to.
Yeah, who are the
probably
three
Sacramento.
teams? Yeah, well, maybe the Lakers
Brooklyn.
would be one. But yeah, true. There's probably a couple of brutal teams out there, or teams that actually had this self-awareness to be like, I'm wasting my time. Why am I calling this guy? He's not coming here. It's not going to happen. All right, hour 2 coming up. Jonas in here, Strutty, the Elkman in here. I'm Brian Hayes. Overdrive continues up on YouTube Live.
It's Mail It In Friday.
The plant called and said if you don't come in tomorrow, don't bother coming in Monday.
Woohoo! 4-day weekend.
This is Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. I hit another winner, Portugal, last night. I'll have more footy bets later in the hour. Really seeing the board very clearly when it comes to the World Cup. And Canada-Morocco tomorrow on TSN Radio. And James Duthie coming up from Houston later this hour. Nick Paul coming up in a few moments. Jason Strudwick in here. Jonas Siegel in here. We've been talking a lot about the offer sheet news, where Leo Carlsson signed an offer sheet with the Philadelphia Flyers, 5 years at $18 million. And Chris Johnston, among others, tweeting out, reporting that may not be the only offer sheet we see today. And Kevin Weeks tweeting out that per his conversations earlier this week with sources, the Ducks were hoping to be between 10 and 12 million for Carlson and Gauthier, because Cutter Gauthier needs a deal as well. And also being well aware that Seneca's next in line a year from now, he's going to get a deal. So it really affects a lot of things in the league. And kind of nostalgic here, Jonas, like, remember when Matthews and Marner were coming up?
I was thinking about it, yeah.
Offer sheet this and offer sheet that. No one did it. No one. I don't know if Marner was presented with any or Willie was presented with any. Never happened, but the Leafs ended up getting the deals done in the end.
Well, and a big part of that was those guys were basically saying, we're not just going to take what's good for the team. Like, we want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And you do this in, like, if he goes back to Anaheim, it's not going to be a thing, right? No one's going to care.
Well,
you know
here's
what
where
I mean? Like, I know Pat Verbeek will care.
Yes.
But it's not like the fan base there is going to be like, this guy.
No, I mean, it's just, I don't know if this is even going to register in
It won't.
Orange County. like they're stopping the presses there. Or if this happened up in Toronto, it'd be totally different. Edmonton, totally different, clearly. But, there's this viewpoint that Cutter Gauthier, they're jamming him up. I look at it the opposite way.
Totally.
If I'm Gauthier, I'm like, thanks, Philly, again. Because now if this guy accepts, I'm like, well, you got to pay me $15 million. I'm not taking 10, and that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And if he doesn't accept, he still has leverage because now they just lost Carlson.
Right, and now they need him even more. So it is a wild scene there in Anaheim. So more on that later in the hour. Nick Paul coming up here in a moment. I want to get to this quickly. We might have to bring Nick in while we're doing this, and then we'll continue it after. But, with the Leafs, there's been so much turnover here. There's been so many moves. Like, we haven't even had the chance to get into Teddy Bluger and Brandon Duhaime, and these are depth players, right? Like, some of them are going to hit, some of them are not. You're not going to hit. You're not betting 1,000 on depth signings. It's not going to happen. But I look at the top players as the ones that are really going to have an effect on whether or not they can be a playoff team again next year. So I'm going to throw a few things at you guys, and give me your confidence ranking between 1 and 5. 5 being the most confident. 1 obviously being the least. All right? Where's your confidence ranking at that Gavin McKenna will be an impact player? These are all for next season, just next year. Gavin McKenna, an impact player.
You want me to go?
I'll go 3
Or you go?
Yeah, I'll go 3.5 offensively. Right,
Okay.
I think just the defensive part of the game, it takes a while. Not because he's not a good defensive player, but the players he's going to be playing against will be also very offensive-minded, and they're going to know how to kind of find holes and cracks. So I think that for him, that's going to be an ongoing thing, and it is for most of the young guys coming in. So
Okay.
I'd go 3.5.
Pretty
guys.
good confidence there, Jonas.
Yeah.
I'll go 2.5. Like, I think right away on the power play, he's going to come in and should be able to put up points right away. Like, you think Matthews, Nylander, Radish. Like, I think right away, I know we've got Nick Paul, but we got to come back to this game.
Okay,
I
got more. I got more, and I'm fairly confident. I'm very confident that Nick Paul is excited to be a Leaf. And he's coming back home. He's a Mississauga guy. He knows the division well. He's been an Ottawa Senator. He's been a Tampa Bay Lightning, and again now he's a Maple Leaf, and he joins us now. Here's Nick Paul on Overdrive. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing really well. I heard you talking about how many people have reached out to you over the last couple of days Do you leave them on ice, or do you actually have to respond to all these people?
I'm trying to get through them all. If I miss a couple people, hope they understand. But yeah, no, it was a lot.
Yeah, they should. They got to understand. I mean, come on. And there's probably some people out there. We always laugh with people coming home. It's like, now you're going to hear from people that are looking for tickets and can you get us into the hot stove, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that'll be different for you. And I'm curious how you intend on, embracing that, being a local guy and now playing for the Leafs.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about it too much, honestly. I always tell people it's like family first for tickets, and the rest we'll figure out. So maybe I just do one game where I get tickets for everyone, and it's my one and done. It's like rookie party dinner.
That's a good idea. I like that. I like that plan. But being a Leaf, I mean, how do you think this experience is going to play out for you? Going from Tampa, you obviously had a lot of success down there, being involved in a trade. You went through that when you went from Ottawa to Tampa. But now that you're a little bit later in your career, how do you think it's going to be an easier adjustment for you because of where you are in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through it. I guess the real one was going to Tampa when I was Stars to Ottawa. I was just like a little young and just not really in the league yet. But yeah, maybe a little easier now being an older guy and just kind of knowing how the league works and having a little experience under my belt. I think the biggest thing is just getting to know the guys, get the locker room first, get to know everyone. I think the biggest thing is just getting together with family too. When you get to know someone's wife and kids and brothers, parents, I think when you really get close to someone, it brings a little tighter when it's wartime. So I think that's the biggest thing is just coming in and get to know everybody. I'm a guy that likes to fool around a little bit, pull pranks here and there. So we'll see what guys kind of like it and what guys don't, or what guys do. And the guys that don't like it might get a little more pranks than usual.
Oh, I love it. That's the way it goes now. That's personally. What about professionally? You went down south. You were a youngish guy to a good team that had a lot of success and a lot of good players. What do you bring back with you professionally that you can work with and share and maybe try to implement it with your new group here at the Leafs?
Yeah, I think the big part is just like when to take control of the game, and like you're not going to have it every single night, but how do you attack that when you don't have it? Who are you going to lean on? You got to be able to lean on your line mates. You got to be able to find a game where you can still be effective on the ice. When it comes to getting into slumps, every team goes through it, but how quickly can you get out of it? How do you change it? How do you change the mindset? How do you when you're on a winning streak, how do you keep that and take things from it and not get too high? How do you not get too low on lose? It's like keeping that middle demeanor of like, all right, it's going to be up and down, but how do we just keep slowly, progressively going up and taking things? Then obviously when big games come, everyone's got to show up. You got to drag everyone into the war. Obviously you don't want to drag anyone, but you got to bring everyone with you and everyone's got to fight for everyone. And just things like, I will say, like playing on Tampa, we went to Stanley Cup Finals. You learn so much from that group and coaches and everything. So obviously coming into Leafs and super excited. Very good squad, very good staff, very good coaching. So I'm super pumped, and things I've learned on the way, I'll voice when I feel the need. But I'm just super excited.
With Nick Paul, and you mentioned getting to know everybody. Does it help that there's been so much turnover? Like they've signed so many players in the last couple of days, and Gavin McKenna's going to be here. You got a new coach. You can have a new staff. Does that possibly allow you to find your role a little bit easier because almost everyone is going to have to adjust, including the guys who have been there for a long time?
Yeah, and I think it's good when you got a bunch of guys adjusting all together. There's not old habits that need to be figured out or broken or followed. It's kind of a new slate and everyone's figuring out together and on the same page. So I think it'll be great. And I love the moves that they've made, especially the one with me. But yeah, I think it's great. And I'm super excited to just kind of get in that room and get to know everyone, get the plan. Let's start watching some video and figuring it all together.
Nick, you mentioned big games. You had a famous big game against the Leafs. I wondered, like, as a Toronto guy, how long you heard about that from buddies and friends and family.
Oh, I was like, I'll never forget my one buddy texted me. He's a diehard fan. His whole basement's like a shrine. And he's like, dude, I love you as a friend, but I can't talk to you for at least a month. Like, it's like, you're off. And it made me laugh. But Yeah, I mean, it's the way it goes. I grew up a Leaf fan. I know how diehard it is. I know the emotion. So I understood it. I understood the hate online, all the crazy stuff that was said. So I'm just happy to be on the other side now and hopefully do it to another team.
So in terms of what you see your role being here, I don't know if you've caught up with Jim Hiller yet or not. And I know it's July, early July. You're still a couple months away from camp even opening. But what would your pitch be? I guess if Jim said, "Hey, how do you see yourself fitting in here?" How would you answer that question?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of a Swiss Army knife. It's kind of where you need me. I want to be someone that's reliable and you can put in any situation. I love taking big draws when I get hot in the face-off dot. I like snapping back. But I mean, I think for me, it's details first. It's the little things. For me, it's the little things that create the big things around the net. It's scoring goals, assists. Put me on the penalty kill. If I need to eat a friggin' ratty clapper to the leg, I will. But yeah, that's just I just want to be that role guy that's like, hey, we need to switch the momentum, go have a forecheck, go throw a big hit, go take the puck to the net, go do something to kind of change. When that ice starts tilting, being able to go on the ice and do that. So for me, it's doing all the little things, and that goes to the big things. And if you need me to go play second line or first line for a game, it's one of those where I can pull out the hands and pull out the skill set to do it. But for me, it's the third line center forecheck. Momentum of try and be the momentum of the game. I just do all the right things. And if you need to throw me shut down, then make a third line shut down. I mean, that's just my role is just working super hard and trying to capitalize when it's there.
It's always different when you play with a player. You really get to know him really well. So what can you tell Leafs fans that maybe they don't already know about Radish and what he's going to bring from the back end for your team next year?
Yeah, Ratty's steady. He's great. He's got some jets on him. He's got some speed. Obviously, you've seen the highlight of his slap shot. It's unbelievable, and on the power play, it really opens up the power play when you got a shot that hard. But he's just a solid defenseman. Moves the puck really well. Moves his feet really well. His IQ is there. So I think it was a big step for him this year because he got opportunity, and with opportunity becomes confidence. So from here, I just think he's going to grow.
In terms of players who are on the team that you're familiar with or doing some research, albeit not the deepest because it's Wikipedia, but your Wikipedia page says you and Max Domi were really close. Growing up, you went
Yeah,
to
we
Leaf
played
games with him.
lacrosse and hockey and everything together. My dad was his
Okay.
coach. So there's a bunch. There's my dad. He coached the Port Credit Store or the Port Credit Paperweights, and then went with the Port Credit Storm and kind of coached us growing up. But he's coached a lot of guys in the NHL actually. But yeah, me and Max grew up together, on the same team for a bit, and then going to the GTHL, we played against each other a bunch. So yeah, we grew up together. Played a little, I think, Mimico lacrosse, like a little Long Branch there. Yeah, we grew up when Ty was here in Toronto.
There you go. Okay, so that Wikipedia is I got to shut up, man. I'm taking shots at Wikipedia. It's accurate. It's on point with Nick Paul. So in terms of obviously Radish and you playing with him, I'm going to ask you about a former teammate now, because Radish is currently your teammate here in Toronto, and that would be Nikita Kucherov. You saw him up close and personally, just won a Hart again. We talk about him all the time on this show. What's that like up close and personal, watching Kucherov do his thing?
It's crazy. We always said if there's a league above the NHL, he'd be first line there too. It's just unbelievable the way that he sees the game. But when you start to see how, like, I've been skating with him the last couple of years, when you start to see his work ethic and how much he puts into the game and how much time, it just makes sense. But yeah, the way he's able to take a dump in rim on his backhand and one touch it to the slot without looking at the guy. I remember last year, I forget, it was like 15 games left, somewhere in there, and someone dumped the puck and he did like a one touch pass to the slot, and the D that was on him for like scrumming up in front. He goes, like, what do you want me to do against that? Like, I didn't even know that he didn't even pick his head up. But it's just like he does that all the time. He's so efficient with his skating. He knows when to throw the jets on and when to slow it down. He always says this game's getting so fast. You got to let them over back check and then find the late guy. Like just the things that I've learned from him. It's next level. So again, there's those players that see the game, and there's players beyond that. And he's in that caliber.
Yeah, that's what everyone says, man. You always get a different story. It's amazing when we've asked like teammates of his. Everyone's got a different detail or something they've seen a little bit differently. With Nick Paul, go ahead, Jonas.
Nick, I just wondered if there's something like being back home you're really excited about. Is there a restaurant? Is it just family and friends? Like, is there something about like being back in your town that's exciting you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just the feel of being back in Toronto. Just feels like my childhood, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I already have a feeling. It's like it's almost like Christmas. You just have it's the next day. Like I don't know. I feel like I know when I go home, I know exactly how I'm going to fit in and exactly how it's going to feel. And obviously a little different now, like playing for the Leafs instead of just growing up and being there. But I think the biggest thing is being close to family. Like me and my wife always talk about, like we would love to have our family over for like Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas and everything. So I know that's a big one. We have a daughter right now that's 1 year old, and my parents absolutely love her to death. So having them close, and her parents as well, but having both our sets of parents close to kind of hang out with us and hang out with the baby is huge.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Well, we're really excited to have you, obviously, in town and on this side of things. We know what you did in Tampa and Ottawa prior to that. And it sounds like a seamless transition. So enjoy the summer. Good luck with it. We'll catch up in the fall, and thanks for doing this.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. There's Nick Paul, one of the newest Maple Leafs, one of many new Maple Leafs, but local guy coming home. It's a really cool story.
Big fan of his.
Yep.
I really like his game.
Mm-hmm.
I like the size. He talked a little bit about how he can affect the game in different ways, and you need that. So, he's not a massive goal scorer. I know he's had the 20-plus goals a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Jonas, what he does is that he can still, he can get to a hit. He can, win the draw he mentioned. He can, be an offensive a forechecking line. He can be more defensive posture. Like he can really touch the lineup in the game in different ways. And I think that a bit of a chameleon, I think, is a way to describe it. And that big body. Like, I think that big bodies are really key that have an impact in the game, not just fridges out there.
Well, one thing I like about him and some of the other guys they brought in, and you're kind of touching on it, like you can kind of play him all over the place.
Yeah.
Like you could play him, like he mentioned, he could be the third line center. He could be the third line left wing. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's games where he's playing in their top six. Same with like Sissons. Like they just kind of now have more like malleability with their forward group, which they didn't really have last year.
Yeah, and a lot of options up the middle of the ice. That was clearly, not everyone's going to play center, but there's between Sissons and Paul and Bluger and others, they have options up the middle of the ice, which I think is something they were lacking in the past. Yeah. And you're right. It's about trying to identify roles, and not everyone's going to hit. I think this one will hit. Like Paul, I think is a good. Really good player, and he's still 31 years old, and I think Nick's going to fit in here pretty seamlessly.
Good cap hit.
Yeah, good cap hit, exactly. Really good cap hit.
Yeah, good cap hit, and they can give different looks. They can move him around and give the lineup different looks.
Definitely.
Let's say you want to beef up that third line. Okay, we could do that. You want more skill in the third line and move a guy up? Like, that's the flexibility. I think that comes with what they did this offseason.
Yeah, and what I'm interested in, too, is, what does Steven Lorentz do now? What does Dakota Joshua do now? Like those are third, fourth line guys from a previous administration. Are they still in the fight for those jobs? Like obviously they're under contract. They're still Maple Leafs, but they've brought in so many players. Only 12 guys can dress. And yes, there will be injuries, and maybe there's more change still to come. But McKenna, who literally just signed his entry-level deal, he's playing. Maybe not every night. Like, there's no guarantees, but I think opening night he's playing. I think Cowan's playing, and, Sissons is playing at $4+ million. Nick Paul's playing. I think Bluger's playing. Like at some point you get to a numbers game where you say, I don't know if everyone's going to fit here. So thanks again to Nick Paul. All right, you want to get back to the confidence rankings here? Okay, I got a few more for you because we started with Gavin McKenna. And I think we're all kind of on the same wavelength. I'm pretty bullish on him, just his talent level and his confidence. And if he's playing with a veteran center, whether it is Matthews or Tavares, they're going to take care of him pretty well. Like I think he's going to be in a pretty good spot there. Ranking between 1 and 5, 5 being the most confident, 1 being the least. Darren Radish will be a potent offensive player.
Can
He
you
had 70-plus points
wait?
last
Can you
year.
define what do you think? What is that?
Yeah.
50 points.
That means 55-plus points, like a true
55.
like an anchor on the power play and a guy that is like last year he had 70-plus points.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's going to replicate that for that. Obviously, if he does that, then the answer is 100% yes. Like you're 5 out of 5 on the confidence level. But basically, that he's going to roll over and prove it wasn't just the Kucherov effect, and he's established himself as a guy that can score goals and put up numbers. Jonas,
you want to take this?
Go
I'll
ahead,
take it.
Jonas.
I was just writing down my number. I'm gonna go 3.5.
Okay.
So I'm pretty confident. I just remember him watching him like years ago before like any of last year happened. And I was like, who is that? Like, who's Radish? Like when he first came up, I was like, this guy's pretty good. Like this guy can move the puck. Like how does Tampa keep finding these guys? Like even last year they had a couple guys where I'm like, where did that guy come from? Dastus. I was like, I remember looking him up. I'm like, who is this guy? And you look at the way things are set up here, like he's going to be on a power play that, like Tampa's power play was like kind of one of a kind, but it's not like they're lacking in talent here. Like he's going to come onto a power play with Matthews and Nylander and McKenna probably, and whether it's Tavares or Nyes in front of the net. So like I still think he's going to play a significant role there. And then offensively, like 5-on-5, he's going to be playing a lot with Matthews and Neil. Like I still think there's just so many opportunities for him to produce. And he's going to get to play as many minutes as he wants. Like he's going to, I would think, lead the team in minutes for sure, right?
Yep.
Yeah, as per usual, I'm a little more optimistic than Jonas is about the Leafs. I'm going 4.5.
Wow.
And this is why.
4.5.
Yep, this is why, because Jonas, you just touched on at the end. He's going to be playing mostly with the top six, and those guys are going to be able to create a lot of offense.
Yep.
I think on the power play, it gives, like, I'm just trying to think as a penalty killer. Now there's two guys I'm really worried about shooting. Well, and Nylander as well. I don't see Gavin shooting the puck as much as some of those other guys.
No.
But I'm looking at Matthews and Radish shooting, so I have to really respect those shots. You got Willie Nylander there too. He's a guy that can find the back of the net. So that's three players I have to worry about with shooting. So I can't cover all three of them, but there's only four of us out there. So I think that the power play, they're going to figure that they're going to have it kind of going and feeling good about it. Then 5-on-5, he plays all those guys. So I don't think 50 points is the problem at all.
No,
in fact,
I'm pretty high on it too.
Shocked if he doesn't get it. I don't know. I feel like I'm being really optimistic.
No,
Maybe it's the offer sheet got me high as a kite.
Yeah, loving the Leafs. And, we'll see. The Werenski ship, I think, is sailed. That might have affected things if Werenski was here, clearly, but that's not the case right now. We saw viz of Austin Matthews training down in Arizona, which is a good thing. Like, he looks really good. I guess it's a short clip, but he had pretty major knee surgery, and he's back on the ice, and by all accounts, going to be 100% come training camp. There he is. And let's get to the confidence rankings on Matthews. What is your confidence level, 1 through 5, that he will score 45-plus goals next season?
Ooh, nice number.
Feels appropriate.
45.
Remind me, last year he had 30 what?
30, low 30s, and then got hurt, right? Missed the last 15 games.
Okay, I'm going 5.
5 out of 5.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, Struddy, you're like a super fan over here.
I don't know what's going on. It's just what's going on today. Is it like a crazy day?
Yeah.
I'm still excited about the offer sheet, the Canada game tomorrow. No, listen, he is a goal scorer, and I think that McKenna, although it's some pressure put on a young player, but I think he does help to find him, and they're going to talk about how to figure it out. So I think, quite honestly, if they're going to be a playoff team, he's got to get 45-plus, Jonas.
So you think he will? Give us a number. How many do you think he'll score?
Well, I mean, I don't know, 40. I'll say 45-plus, I guess, 48, 49, I mean, whatever. Now you're making me put a number on it. Joseph, you're really challenging me today, buddy. Like, turn it down a little bit.
You're the elk man. I got to keep you sharp.
Keep him honest.
Like the elk horns.
I'm going to go, Jonas?
Let's go 4.5.
Wow,
because 45 for him, like, again, like the last 2 years.
The last 2 years.
You're right, 100%. Let me give you a couple of reasons. One, I think he's going to be used differently than he was in the past, and this is something to go back to the players that they brought in. They've brought in some, like, we can stick that guy in the defensive zone for all the tough draws and not really worry, which means there's going to be less inclination to do that with Matthews, less inclination to do that with Tavares. So I think that sets him up better. McKenna potentially sets him up better. Like, he just didn't have a playmaker of that caliber last year. And then there's the power play. Like, I wonder, like Struddy mentioned Radish on the power play. It's something Jim Hiller has talked about, wanting to free him up more on the power play. So, like, all those different elements, I think, give me optimism. The other thing, like, is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be, like, back to looking like he did
That's
3 years ago? Because we
outlier.
still haven't, like, totally seen that again.
That's where my confidence isn't as high. It's not about who he's playing with or usage. You know, just ripping shots, man. He hasn't shot the puck the same way the last 2 years.
Yep.
Like that's the real question. Like I'm
Great
hoping
question.
for him, but I'll believe it when I see it. Not that he won't score. He's too good. He's going to get in good areas. He's going to score 30 if he's healthy, 35 goals for sure. But 45 plus, that's a heater. Like that's a guy chasing a rocket.
But it's like, for him, like, that used to be just like
it
old
was
hat.
nothing for him. But he used to shoot the puck differently.
Yeah,
like when he
that
scored
mid-range shot
69.
haze, like, it kind of disappeared.
Yeah, that's the concern for me is I can't trust that that's 100% back. If it is, this to me is a 5 out of 5. He'll figure it out. He'll if he remains healthy, he's going to rip home goals. But you guys, a lot of confidence here between the two of you, and I think a lot. If these things go the way you're saying they could, or we are saying they could, this is the way they make it back to the playoffs. Not, their fourth line having more depth, or, hey, maybe Andre is a guy that shows up and can move the puck. These are the building blocks of getting competitive again. Quickly, before we bring in JD, I got two more. Let me go with this one because the other one's too difficult to really make a read on. Confidence level, Sergei Bobrovsky and Anthony Stolarz will be an above-average tandem.
I'm going to say
that's a hard one.
A 2 for Strud.
So
There's
I'm
the
saying a 2.
negativity coming back.
Yeah, so you're just waiting for me to be negative. You got to.
That means
Jonas
I sold you yesterday on my
you
argument.
and Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas. I did go back and read that. So listen. I think that this is my concern: is wear and tear and age on one guy, and the other guy is just health, right? So if you would have asked me average.
Yeah.
My answer would have been much higher, right? But above average, I feel that that's optimistic.
Okay. All right.
I will
Jonas.
also go at 2 for those same reasons. And it's just the one thing that could benefit them is defensively they should be a lot better next year than they were last year. That helps. But 38-year-old and a guy who hasn't been able to stay healthy, like above average is tough.
Okay. Well, those are 4 of the 5 I had. We won't get into the Chris Tanev one because it's too difficult to answer. But for me, this is your next article, Jonas. I'll hand it to you.
Can you write it for me?
5 pillars of making the playoffs.
Do you want? Do you
right
want to know
here.
something? Actually, I started that this morning.
Well, okay, now here we
What
go.
a coincidence,
Now,
Jonas.
your bit.
It's not
There we
exactly
go.
like that, but it's more or less.
Well, this is it. It's McKenna's an impact. Radish.
Where's my notebook?
Radish is who he was in Tampa, more or less. Matthews is back to being Matthews. Tanev is healthy and can contribute. And Bob and Stolarz, if they're above average, they're making the playoffs. Like if those 5 things happen, they're making the playoffs. I will say that definitively right now. If 4 of the 5, I think they're in the hunt. 3 of the 5, it's close. 2 or less, they're not making it. That's where I stand on things. You can write it, Jonas.
Yeah.
Put it in print. Just throw my name in there
A
somewhere.
byline.
What if I do I've never used ChatGPT or anything like that, but what if I did write me a story about this in the voice of Brian Hayes?
I love
wonder
that
if I
idea.
could do it.
I love that idea.
The points.
Okay, Duthie's coming up from Houston. Canada, Morocco tomorrow. What's the confidence level down there with the group? How are we feeling against this powerhouse in Morocco with kickoff at 1 p.m. tomorrow in Houston? So we'll head down there, catch up with JD. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Tonight.
This is the moment.
On TSN 1050, a round of 32 doubleheader as Argentina takes on Cabo Verde and Colombia kicks off against Ghana. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Mailed In Friday brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. Boston Pizzas across the country will be firing up tomorrow, bright and early, man. 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff down in Houston, Canada, Morocco. Cannot wait for this match. I love that it's been 6 days, so you can just build it up and build it up and build it up. And down in Houston, that's where the scene is set, and we head there now and catch up with a man that'll be running the whole operation. There he is, James Duthie. JD, what are the vibes like around the team as we get closer to kickoff tomorrow?
First of all, I can't believe I'm on with the guy who Wally pipped me on free agency day. You know, I'd heard that television was a ruthless business, but I'd never witnessed it at TSN. I volunteered to come back. They said, no. Brian said, you're not coming back. It's his show now. I think that was the exact quote they said. He said, it's my show now.
Right.
I heard you did a great job, babe.
Brian Gehrig.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Gehrig. That's what they're calling me now.
It was really weird, by the way, being down here with all that stuff going on and continuation with the offer sheets and everything. But no place I'd rather be. Look, Houston is not my favorite city. No offense, Houston, if there's any Houstoners somehow listening. It's just when you go, the atmosphere in Toronto at the beginning was great. Vancouver was amazing. Even LA, you're staying in Manhattan Beach, and then the vibe in that stadium was incredible. And Houston, first of all, is steaming hot. I know it's been hot there, so you barely can go outside, and there's just not the feel that you had in those other cities, right? It's one of those American cities that doesn't have a lively downtown. But I can't wait for tomorrow, because just the fact that you can utter the sentence that they have a chance to go into the quarterfinals is insane to me.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, I can tell you, I know you've seen the videos and you know what was going on here. Like with Portugal, Croatia last night, it was electric. And it just, like you said, Houston just doesn't have that vibe. But I'm curious if you're seeing Canadians. Like, I know there'll be people down there, but what are we expecting from a crowd that was pretty well represented in L.A., I thought, too? A lot of Canadians were there.
Yeah, there were. I mean, look, it was a mostly neutral. I would say in LA, there was 5,000-6,000 Canadians, maybe 1,000 or 2 South Africans, and the rest were neutral. A lot of Mexicans, because they just go everywhere and they love football that much. But it was cool to see, I think, the way South Africa was playing, and as opposed to the way Canada was playing, all the neutrals kind of went over to Canada's side. I don't know if you could hear that at home, but, as the game went on, the cheers got louder and louder for Canada. I don't know if it'll be, I know all my buddies have been telling me all the flights have been full down here. People have been flying in. So I expect it'll be the same sort of thing to LA where you get 5,000 Canadians. I don't know how many Moroccans are going to be there. There was a ton in Qatar for the Morocco-Canada game, but that was right next door basically for Moroccans to travel there. So whether there's that many that come over here, I don't know. But it's, even in the sort of games that are neutral like this, I think the atmosphere has been great in the stadiums. Like, just everybody's so psyched to go to a World Cup game, especially a knockout stage game like this. But they're massive. They're massive underdogs. Qatar has had this ascension over the last 2 years where they've gone. When Canada played them into Qatar, I think they were 22nd in the world, and they were the second lowest ranked team to ever go to the semifinals. And now in the last sort of year and a half, they've climbed up to where they're 6th now, and everybody's afraid of them. And Jesse Marsh did his newser today and called them no weaknesses. And Alistair Johnson said they're a Goliath. And I think that's all fair. I don't think they're just playing head games there. But we've seen through all these games, you never know, right? If you just hang around late, get a break, maybe a Moroccan gets a red card, something good happens. And I just hope they can hang around and make it really interesting.
Watching from a distance, it feels like this team is starting to believe in themselves more and more all the time. Especially that first half, they looked really unsure. Even in the game here in Edmonton, they weren't really sure what was going to happen with injuries. So you're right up there with the team. What are you seeing from the coaching staff and the players? Is there that that growth, that improvement of kind of self-belief heading into this incredible game that he could go to the 8, which to me blows me away.
Yeah, I think there definitely is, Struddy. And I always hesitate to make these conclusions. What do I see from interviewing guys and watch them in 15 minutes of training before they kick us out? Do I really know how they feel? No. But I do talk to a few of them on the side, and I don't think they necessarily had that confidence at the beginning. You saw they were shaky in that first half against Bosnia. I think they were shaky against Switzerland. I think they were even nervous in the first few minutes against South Africa. But I think the Qatar win where they pounded all those goals did something to them. And I think that Eustachio goal and that win took the weight off their shoulders, because I think they knew, even though they had these successes, and if they'd have lost that game, I don't know, you could have called it a small less success this World Cup, but really what did they do? They got a win over Qatar. They got a tie against Bosnia. But to win that game and, to see that when they put up the brackets and Canada was all alone there in the round of 16, I think that did wonders for them. I think they've been really super relaxed this week. And the most dangerous team is always the one that has no pressure. I think they'll feel pressure tomorrow. It's the World Cup, and I don't think there's no pressure on them, and they'll just go out and play freely. You still desperately want to win. But I think the pressure as the game goes on will definitely slide towards the Moroccan way if it's still even, or if Canada somehow gets an early goal. And I think that'll play to their advantage for sure.
Yeah, that was cool when Canada was the only flag through. And the second one through, I think, was Brazil, which kind of made it equally as cool.
Imagine that happens tomorrow, though. Imagine they pull it out and you see the little thing with the first team in the quarters awaiting France or Paraguay. It would be ludicrous.
It's amazing. With James Douthey, who's in Houston, Canada, Morocco, 1 p.m. kickoff on TSN, CTVN on Crave. There's been this cloak of secrecy when it comes to Alphonso Davies, and, he was a decoy in the group stage, and then the assurances that we would see him and he would play in the round of 32, which did come to fruition in the end. But he went in late. He made an immediate impact. Is 6 days enough to expect 30 minutes of play? I don't think he'll start tomorrow. I don't think anyone's bracing for that. I could be wrong. But how much do you think the time allotted to his play has possibly expanded over the past week?
I've been asking that same question. The sports science that they use on this is very particular. And I believe it was 20 minutes last game. They never said. The really interesting thing would have been if Eustachio didn't score that goal and they went to extra time, how long more would he have played? Because, you get only one sub if they play the extra 30. And this will be a dilemma tomorrow for Jesse Marsch, too, if they're in a tight game, and they'd gladly take that. But if you bring Fonzie in, like in the 60th minute or the 70th minute, and then he can only play 30, then you're going to have to use your only sub again on him to take him out, that's kind of handcuffing you a little bit to use 2 subs on one position, one player. So that'll be a really interesting strategy for Jesse Marsch. I mean, you could probably make an argument it wouldn't be the worst idea to start him and see how long he can go if he can play 35 or 40 and try to get off to a great start. I don't think they're going to do that. So in answer to your question, I think 20 probably becomes 30 to 35. But again, I don't know. Is 6 days enough where you could say, can you go a half? It is the World Cup. It could be your last game in the World Cup. I don't know how the pitch counts work with minutes. I don't understand. I don't think it should be like, a pitcher in a pitch count where if he's feeling good, if the hamstring's good, is 5 minutes, 10 minutes going to make a massive difference? I don't think so, but, they have probably a million sports scientists that might say different.
James, I want to put you on the spot. Actually, I have 2 questions. One is stupid and one I think is okay.
That's great. I love you reviewing
I'll let you decide
questions.
which is the stupid one and which is okay. Let's start with this one. If you had to pick the next Eustachio, maybe a little bit of a sleeper to score a goal tomorrow, who would you pick?
Well, this isn't a sleeper. I've been waiting the whole tournament for Buchanan to do something, right? I think he's been one of the bigger disappointments of the tournament for Canada. And I was one who thought he might be one of the sort of the sleeper heroes when this tournament started. So that would be my first guess. And then I'd say maybe somebody like Saliba, who uh, didn't have a great game, I don't think, against South Africa, but I think he'll probably start again. And I think we didn't see a lot of it against South Africa, but he's kind of fearless to take the shot and the strike. And so I'll go with one of those two guys. Was that the
All right,
dumb one?
Jonas.
I wasn't that dumb.
No.
Yeah, which one was that?
No, this is the dumb one.
Okay.
So Jesse,
Oh, okay.
it just made me think of you. So Jesse March had the jeans on. I guess his suit was at the dry cleaner. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
How does
So
he only have one
He
suit?
didn't have time
so
to get
here's
him
what-
cleaned.
Go
So
ahead,
I wondered,
Jonas.
have you ever had a situation like that where you had to be on TV and you just had to wear jeans or you had to wear shorts or like you didn't have your A+ suit?
The very first show I ever did on TSN was I hosted CFL. That was my first job. And back when I was doing local TV, I just wore shorts and flip-flops all the time, right? Like that's what you do in local TV when you're doing the late sports. So I can't fathom why I would think this to make an impression at TSN, but I wore flip-flops on my first day and shorts. And then they said, hey, you got to put on some pants. So I didn't bring socks or anything. I did put on pants. So I had a full suit on with flip-flops. And back then our studio had they had a reverse shot over my shoulder. And so on my first night on TV, like people could see my ugly bare toes with flip-flops on, which is just humiliating. So yeah, to that extent, it's true. I'm running out of suits too, and I think I brought 10 on this trip. So I'm hoping they go to Boston, but I'll have to start re-wearing a lot of crap soon.
Yeah. Well, it's hot too, right?
By the
Those
way,
suits.
not really that dumb a question, Jonas. Like we have these six days off. You want to hear a dumb question? Like I started to throw out, I get to hang around all these soccer guys like KJ and Atiba and Julian. And I like to just ask the question that the guys are asking in the bar. So last night I was like, guys, if we have Mbappe, are we the favorites tomorrow? And then I'm like, if we have Mbappe, if we had Mbappe and Messi, are we the favorites to win the tournament? So those are dumb questions, and they told me so.
Okay. No, I like those. That's kind of how the whole show operates here, is hypotheticals like that. That's kind of stuff you
Exactly.
thrive
I would
off.
fit in perfect there.
Perfectly here. Well, it's exciting. They're into the round of 16. Obviously, underdogs. If they get through, it's likely France waiting for them. But it's not going to possibly get easier. Like if you win, you're not going to play some team that's below you in the world rankings. So it's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be awesome nonetheless. So many people are excited for the match tomorrow. So good luck with it, buddy. Hopefully we don't see you back home soon, and you're off to Boston, like you said, for the quarterfinals. But enjoy it, and thanks for doing this. We appreciate it.
It's destroying my golf game and probably my relationship with my family. But if it was to happen, there's no better reason than to beat these guys tomorrow and go to Boston and take on the French. Show them we can beat them, even if we don't have Mbappe and they do.
That's fine. That's fine. They're asking in France, like if we had Davies, we'd be the favorites to win the World Cup, I think.
Saying if we had Nico Segur, could we beat these Paraguayans?
Right,
Hey, well, I'll leave you with one last thing.
Yes.
I know everybody's building up this Moroccan juggernaut. They're undefeated in 33 games. They're up to 6th in the world. But, Haiti led them twice in group play. Haiti was up 1-0 and 2-1 on them before they fell apart down the stretch. They only beat Scotland 1-0. This is not, the greatest football team ever assembled. So we got a shot, baby.
I love it. Can't wait. Let's see what happens. Enjoy it tomorrow. Thank you, JD.
See you guys.
There he is, James Duthie, down in Houston. And he's right. We'll see the style of play that Canada plays. They've been uber aggressive. That's kind of what they know. Do they continue to play that way? Do they make an adjustment? Is it too late to make an adjustment? We'll see. But Canada's a pretty good team, too. Like, even with all the injuries and the uncertainty, Davies and Bombito and Kone's obviously out. The rest of the squad has talent, and there's depth, and they have experience now. Go out there and play. Let's see what happens. All right, best bets coming up, and we'll recap a busy week. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Tomorrow, Canada is back on TSN 1050. Canada's historic run continues as they take on Morocco in the round of 16. Coverage starts at noon. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The FIFA World Cup 2026 lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Mail-in Friday brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. And Canadians, they will not be mailing in their sporting events this weekend. With Canada, Morocco tomorrow, you've got offer sheets going on in the NHL, the NBA, right? Next week, Kawhi, that trade's going to become official. What's going to happen with LeBron? Where's LeBron James going to end up signing? You have the Jays in Seattle starting tonight, which is always pretty electric, the amount of Blue Jay fans that show up for that. And we got some big games tonight in the World Cup, but Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm looking to tomorrow, and maybe this is my patriotism speaking. Maybe Duffy just kind of sparked this idea, but I'm on Canada plus money, plus 200. There's something about this team. I think that extra day off, Morocco going through the Dutch and going all the way to penalties. I'd like to believe Davies plays more tomorrow. I think Max Crepeau is going to have to be great. You're going to need a goaltending performance. Maybe it gets all the way to penalties. If it does, he's really got to be great. Let's get going here. Let's get through to the quarterfinals. It would be magical, right? You got Mexico still. They got England on Sunday. You got the U.S. going. The three host teams, let's see if we can find a way to get them all into the quarterfinals. I think that'd be incredibly cool. Messi in action tonight. You've got Colombia in action tonight. World Cup, it just doesn't stop. It's going to be great. All right, boys. Well, what do we think over the weekend? Another offer sheet in the NHL? What's your Jerry's on that before we get out of here?
I think there will be. I do. I think there will be. And maybe the Ducks will be the target. They've got two pretty good young players there. But
Can
boy,
you imagine that?
If another one comes in,
wow,
the chaos in that office suite for the GM and his buddies, that's chaotic. Big decisions. This is franchise altering decision when you're dealing with those level of players.
Big time. Yeah, I could see it happening for sure. There's a lot of really good players looking for contracts right now. At a minimum, their respective teams are probably calling their agents saying, all right, let's get going here. Let's work out the details on this contract so it doesn't wait any longer. Should be a fun weekend filled with, again, action on the pitch in terms of what's going on in hockey, the NBA, Wimbledon. It's awesome. All right, boys, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. Jonas Siegel of The Athletic, Jason Strudwick, thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Monday at 4 p.m. We'll chat then.